Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us to learn how to use AI agents to resolve identities. Just so you know, we'll be recording today's session and sharing it afterward. While you're all on mute, we want to use this to be as interactive as possible, so please use the Q&A box to submit any questions as we go. Next slide. So I'm Jason Perocho, the head of marketing here at Amperity, and I'm joined by Ira Rickman, a senior product manager. Together, we'll walk through today's topic at how to use AI agents to solve the most complex customer data challenge utilizing identity resolution. Next slide. Here's what we'll cover today. I'll briefly frame the landscape and challenges brands are facing when it comes to customer data. Then Ira will quickly jump in and give a live demo of our identity resolution agent. And finally, we'll leave time at the end for Q&A. Now, if you want to submit a question along as we go, don't forget there is a Q&A box in GoToWebinar that you click on any time and submit your question. Next slide. So we're really in the eye of the storm. There are three major forces that are all converging. The first is the explosion of customer data. More data is being produced today than ever before. At the same time, we're also seeing a great acceleration of AI. It seems every single day that we're hearing a new stat come out or a new product come out about how AI is going to transform the workforce. And then finally, we're in this continued economic uncertainty as brands and businesses are trying to respond to some of the geopolitical circumstances that are going on out there. Together, these are all reshaping how companies must operate. Now, to fully leverage AI, companies need a strong data foundation. But the biggest barrier, well, that's data readiness. And at the heart of that is a silent crisis, identity resolution. It's the root issue behind broken personalization, inefficient marketing, and disconnected customer experiences. Next slide. In fact, 78% of companies are just not ready to deploy LLMs and AI agents because of this barrier around data readiness. Next slide. So identity resolution is the most important and perhaps the most complex part of customer data. Why? Because data is messy. People move, they change emails, they change names, and that change is constant. Companies try to solve this in two ways. Some build in-house solutions that require custom code, constantly tuning those algorithms, and long refresh cycles. Others use third-party vendors, but those tend to be black boxes, rigid, expensive, and not built for today's scale or data diversity. In both cases, the result is the same. You're left with an incomplete picture of your customer, and that affects everything downstream. Next slide. This is where Amperity comes in. We built our platform to be fast, transparent, and flexible, because those are the three things legacy solutions just can't do. And when we say fast, we would like to highlight that we use AI and machine learning to standardize and resolve data at enterprise scale. Most customers finish ID resolution in under an hour, even with billions of records that they're sorting through. Now, when we say transparent, we provide you the ability to inspect every connection. There's no black box. Now, our interface shows you exactly how IDs are formed with tools to benchmark and tune results. And finally, when we say flexible, we give you the ability to plug into your stack with secure data sharing for Snowflake and Databricks. And with our sandbox tools, you can test new sources or rules in minutes. No statements of works required. Next slide. So let me show you what this looks like in action. On the left, you see raw, messy data from different systems, a point of sale system, an e-commerce system, a loyalty application, and even customer service. In Amperity, we stitch those records into a single complete view. In this case, identifying that Kathy Jones and Kathleen Lee are indeed the same person, even though she changed her name and has used multiple email addresses. This complete unified view powers everything else downstream for the business, whether it's analytics, activation, or even on-site personalization. Next slide. With that context, since this is a Deminar, let's jump into the product. Now, Ira's going to show you how our new identity resolution works live, starting with raw data in Databricks and moving all the way to resolved, ready-to-use customer identities in just minutes. So with that, Ira, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jason. So I'm going to show you how Amperity's AI agent, identity resolution agent works. And to do that, I'm going to ask you to just imagine a scenario where I'm a data engineer for a nationwide QSR chain called Coffee Plus Bagel. This is my dream, to open a coffee and bagel shop, take it nationwide. But for now, it just exists in Databricks and in the realm of this demo. So I'm a data engineer for Coffee Plus Bagel, and we've expanded rapidly in the last couple of years. And my marketing and analytics teams have been asking me to get them some data so they can assess whether to create a loyalty program. And if they were to create a loyalty program, how they would reach out to customers and which customers to target for the loyalty program. So I started this task in Databricks just because that's what my company uses, but we could use Snowflake or any other lakehouse. And I've got some data on customers who've purchased with our brand. So we've got a merch store. We sell great merch. We have great branding. And so customers have been buying online from the merchandise store. And then we've also got online orders and in-store orders through Toast. So we've got data on customers through the merch store and through Toast. And I started off by trying to create this data foundation to get them the data that they needed in Databricks. So I wrote a bunch of rules. I queried the data a bunch, did a lot of data munging and cleaning, tried to do things like apply Levenstein functions and fuzzy matching, and really get these data sets together into one unified view. And I really struggled. I spent a week on it, and I realized it wasn't going to be sufficient for what my marketing and analytics teams needed to answer their questions. So I heard about Amperity and decided, why don't I give it a try and see what their identity resolution agent looks like. So now I'm going to pop over into Amperity to just show you what that process would look like. And before I do that, the way I would get that data to Amperity is just sharing via Delta sharing. So this is a secure zero copy way of providing data to Amperity to perform identity resolution. So moving over into Amperity now, you can see I'm on the Quick Start tab. And the Quick Start tab is really that entry point into the platform. And it's going to guide me through identity resolution via the identity resolution agent. And then I'll proceed to that final step of creating a customer profile. And then from there, I'm going to share those customer profiles back to Databricks so my marketing analytics teams can answer the questions they need to answer. So I'm going to start by hitting setup. And now I've got a guided experience that the identity resolution agent will walk through. The first step is adding my data into Amperity. So I'm going to connect to data from my lakehouse via something called a bridge. So I'm going to click Add Bridge. As you can see, I can connect to data from Databricks or Snowflake. In my case, I'll pick Databricks. I'm just going to type in demo ID agent and then hit confirm. I'll upload my credential file, which I can download in Databricks, and then sync my data. It takes about 5 minutes to load, in this case, 10 million records, but it scales very well as well. I'm just going to skip ahead and show you what it looks like once that data has been landed in Amperity. So I've got my data loaded here, 2 tables via my bridge. You can see I've got my data, my merch store and Toast data set. I can control access, so I'm not just sharing everything. I'm only bringing in the tables that I need. And from here, I'm now going to turn things over to the identity resolution agent. So I'm going to click this button right here. And what Amperity's ID agent is going to do is it's going to find the tables that contain PII. And the reason that's important is because that's how it will find connections between different customers and merge records or create clusters of records. So I'll now have an identity graph connecting data from across my data sources. Then it's going to set primary keys. Primary keys are really important for ensuring the stability and determinism of identity resolution in the long run, because I want this to be my foundation going forward. And then it's going to identify a semantic understanding of my data. That semantic understanding is really important because it's what lets Amperity's AI find connections between different customers by looking at relationships among things like name, email, address, phone, and any other pertinent information. So the agent's finished its first pass, and I now have a handy UI to review its work before I kick off the next step, which is the actual identity resolution. So I'm just going to click in here and take a look at how it developed a semantic understanding of my data before it goes to resolve identities. So you see I've got my merch store customers data set, my Toast customers data set here as well. And Amperity's AI has applied semantic tags. So things like first name, last name, and it's given the appropriate semantic tag. This is really important because what it's done is it's allowed me to connect data from my merch store customers and my Toast customers, where the columns are named a little bit differently and the structures are shaped a little bit differently as well. And this is a really important piece of what makes Amperity's AI so great. I can bring my data as is. I don't have to spend weeks reshaping it, enforcing uniqueness, trying to deal with the constraints of the Amperity platform. I can just bring my data as is. Amperity's AI will develop a semantic understanding, and then from there, it will go and resolve identity. So I checked this out. Everything looks good. Did a great job on semantic tagging. I'm just going to close this out, and I'm ready for the next step. I'm going to click this Run Stitch button, and what Amperity's AI agent will do is find those connections between sources. It takes a little bit of time to run, so I'm just going to skip ahead to another view, and we'll land here on the quick start page. You can see Amperity's AI took my 9 million source records, looked for connections across all of those different records. So it looked at the relationships between name, email, phone, address, and other identifiers. And then it found connections across those records and realized, hey, you don't have 9 million customers. You actually have 7 million Amperity IDs. And so those Amperity IDs and clusters of different identities are exactly what I was looking for. I've now got a single identifier that I can use to give to my marketing and analytics teams to do their analysis on how many customers we have and who to target for the loyalty program. So it deduplicated my data by about 20%, which is a little bit more than I was expecting, but really happy to have that insight. I can click into this tab to get more detail as well. And you can see that it ran in only 7 minutes. So in 7 minutes, Amperity's AI was able to take 9 million records and find the connections and relationships among all of those records in order to create that base identity graph for me to work from. I can also explore some examples. So you can see here, I've got a bunch of examples, and it shows me the way that each of the records came together. In this example, I've got one record from my Toast data set. I've got a couple other from my merch store, and you can see there's a few differences in these records. The names are a little bit different. The emails are pretty similar, but sometimes the email is not present. The phone number is pretty consistent, but I would have otherwise had to write a lot of rules connecting phone and email and a series of cascading statements and tables in order to get to this outcome. And I already spent a week trying to do it. I didn't want to spend weeks doing this. If I want a little bit more of a detailed view, I can take a look at this cluster graph, which will show me the way that Amperity's AI made these transitive connections. And again, the really nice thing here is I didn't have to go and write all these rules myself. Amperity's AI did them for me. However, if I wanted to, I could apply some rules on top of it to enforce relationships that I know are really important. So now that I've seen the results of Amperity's AI in a really clean, clear, and transparent way, I want to move on to the next step, which is actually sending that data back to my lakehouse so my marketing analytics team can do their work. So I'm going to click on Quick Start, and you can see I can now set up my customer profile. So I'm going to click Setup here. And the first step here will be taking that identity graph and merging my records down into one golden record to find the best PII for each customer. So I'm going to click Edit Policies, and I'm going to create the merge policy for this identity graph. As you can see, I've got some important attributes that I want to be part of my customer profile, things like name, address, email, phone, and I've got the opportunity to select the best source for each of those pieces of information. So because my marketing and analytics teams are going to be reaching out to customers via email and SMS, I really want to make sure that I've got the best source of email and phone for each of those customers. So I'm going to prioritize the merch store just because I think it's a better and more reliable source. So I'm going to move those ahead, and then I'll click Save in order to lock in that golden record assignment. If the email or phone isn't present on the merch sort table, then Amperity's AI will go and pull the email from Toast customers. And then if there's no email, then there's no email for that customer. But what this does is it ensures maximal coverage of PII and key attributes for each customer in the golden record, and will create a customer profile database for me. So I'll click Save, and then I'd hit this Generate Profiles button. What that will do is it'll create a database for me containing my customer profile tables along with my identity graph. So I'll just click into here. You can see I've got my customer profiles table. It's got my 7 million or so Amperity IDs. It's got all of those key attributes that I set on my merge policy page. And I've also got an identity graph view if I wanted to connect data from different sources as well. So I can see how my Amperity IDs, which are the linking key across data sets, connect to my source data sets via those customer keys. I'm going to close this out, and from here, I want to send it back to, I want to send this customer profile database back to my lakehouse. So I'm going to go to Destinations. I'm going to click Outbound Shares. Then I'm going to click Add Bridge. Again, I can send this to Databricks or Snowflake. We just happen to be a Databricks shop, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to create this bridge, ID agent demo. Click Next. I'm going to share just my customer profiles and identity graph tables. So I'm going to click Next. Then I'll download this credential file. I'll pop over to Databricks. I'll import that credential file. So I'll call it ID agent demo. You can see Amperity is one of the featured Delta sharing providers for Databricks. I'm going to click Browse, ID agent demo share. I'm going to import. Oh, I think I need to remove spaces. So in just a few minutes of work, I've created this identity graph for and set of customer profiles in Amperity. Saved me literally weeks of time. And then I've now sent it back to Databricks, and in just a minute, I've created an identity graph and customer profile database that's available in Databricks. So I can now view this this catalog I just created. You can see it's got my customer profiles and identity graph tables. So in just a minute, we share back these two tables containing millions of records, and end to end, we've seen customers go through this identity resolution process using your identity resolution agent in under an hour. And that's across different lakehouses, Snowflake or Databricks, and we hope to add support for more sources as well in the near future. So I'm going to take it back to our slides, and you can see, again, quote from one of our customers at the Baltimore Ravens, and they got through this process in just 45 minutes, so saving weeks of time. And I think from here, we'll now open it up to any questions.
All right, let me go into the Q&A. There we go, questions. One question is, hey, Ira, what kind of data sets does the identity resolution agent work on? Does it work on any data sets like structured and unstructured data?
Yeah, really good question. So it will work on any data set. It's going to look for data that contains PII. If it's unstructured, we would recommend that you just ensure that there are clear columns associated with it. But once Amperity's AI can identify those columns and find that data, then it will work on those data sets.
All right, awesome. I'm looking through to see if there's any other questions out there. What are the current limitations of the identity resolution agent today, if any?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the main one is just ensuring that data is denormalized. I would say that's the biggest one, but that's a pretty easy step to take in your lakehouse. Otherwise, the identity resolution agent will, it's doing some data standardization and normalization and processing in order to find connections across all those customer records. So it works pretty well. There are the main limitation I would say, besides where data can come from, is just ensuring that it's denormalized first.
All right, awesome. I think that answers all the questions that we have. Ira, thank you so much for providing such a wonderful demo, and thank you to the entire audience for being attentive and asking a bunch of questions. If you have any other follow-ups, please feel free to email us. My email is jason.perocho@amperity.com, and Ira is ira.rickman@amperity.com. Thank you all for attending, and have a great day.